I remember coming down the staircase, and that's the worst part. Coming down the staircase, I had to close the doors behind me, right? To lock, right? Then you hear the steps down the staircase in a very rush moment, like
running after you.
That is where the real balls drop off. And I didn't turn back anymore. I went.
Is there anyone here? What did you find? You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
So the interesting part was I used to think in the past when I was much younger that there was a bit something wrong with me, because our family, we were not exactly very religious. I mean, there are some folks that are slightly more religious, mostly Christians. And, we are really mostly traditional, just non-practicing Taoists or more likely towards free thinkers. So we still obey the old ancestral rituals and stuff, Qing Ming and all that stuff. We will do all the necessary, pay respects to our ancestors and everything else. So we didn't really take all these spiritual matters very seriously. But what I started to notice after certain things happened, I started digging up, asking my parents about this and that, those people who babysat me when I was younger. They did share stories about me constantly being able to, they thought I was some weird kid, they will stare off in the distance and look intently, now having kids myself, right? I mean, they do that sometimes, So it's pretty normal, right? But I do remember very vividly that in my younger years, I had a real solid imaginary friend, and this imaginary friend was real. Alright, and it was not a cartoon character, it was a real person. And that was after digging up and, after certain incidents happened, that's where I started to realize that all these things are maybe kind of like a built up to what I am today. So what happened was that I think I noticed that I could see people, alright, people that weren't there, and they were so solid and non-ethereal to the sense whereby I wouldn't know that they are real or not, right? So it was like, it's really based on how the person next to you, or next to it, behaves, then I kind of understand, okay, that thing is probably not there, it's not really real, right? So one of the incidents happened when I remember very clearly, in Poly, right? I was with a friend, we were by the current, where it's called the Marina Promenade. So before Esplanade was built up and everything, there was just the breakwater. So I usually like to go there and hang out. So a couple of times, I've seen something funny, but it was nothing scary. It was just really like a person suddenly just appear from nowhere, walk past you, walk across your path, that sort of thing. And they just seemed a little more distant in the way they look, in their eyes, So I just remember very clearly that I was seated by the breakwaters. So it was one evening after school, we went there, the breakwaters. I was sharing this with my friend, this girlfriend of mine. She was like, say, where do you get inspiration from? So I was just trying to share with her this space, and say, this is the way I come and I look at the things and that. And while we were talking, we were sat side by side, each other facing the sea. And from the side, there was a person that just popped and like listening in, eavesdropping, and there is no way you cannot see that person because at the back of us it's just clearing, it's a grass patch, and I was like, okay. So I told my friend, hey, chill man, I think I'm kind of bored about this place, let's get out of here. So we left. So it was quite vivid to me because it was very impressionable because we maintain eye contact, it's like somebody just coming in, hey, surprise, kind of want to say something and all that stuff, but it was just, I could hear nothing, but I could see exactly his expression. It wasn't a scary face, it was just not supposed to be there, it's not supposed to be not the right time whatsoever, right, non-anticipated. So as we walked off, of course I turned back to look again. So just on the side there was a tree that had an overhanging branch. So all I could see was, because again it was about sunset and all that stuff, so you know how the leaves, the canopy form a shadow, and then all I could see was a silhouette of legs that just sitting there like la 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 la, it's if you look at the image, you put it in the proper soundtrack, it's actually quite a friendly or quite a non-threatening situation. So that was one of those cases. Then of course, Lido, the famous Lido car park. So we had to go and visit the Lido car park after orientation camp. I think, or I can't remember, was it a camp or whatever. I just know that it was Qigui because I remember that there was a lot of joss papers being burnt and offerings in the car park itself. So for those people who are our age, right, you know, in Lido car park, if you cross the right path, you actually be able to go to this secret rooftop garden at Lido, right? So we wanted to go there. So the same thing, a group of us, I think easily 10, 11 of us, we were walking, and you know, car parks have this pillars, right? So same thing, we walked past the pillar, and then there was this guy who just jutted through the entire path of our group, and just interwoven between us, and just walked through. And I was like, why is it that my friend don't slow down? Why is it that my friend, they don't actually react to this person, right? So I was like, okay, it's not right. But at a point of time, even still then, I was a little bit confused because I was like, something's wrong with me, schizo or something like that, Until I went out on a group outing with my hockey mates. So previously I was from a JC, so I went to the poly. So in my JC days, I happened to meet, in my hockey team, I actually happened to have one of these junior teammates. So he apparently shared with me much later that he prayed to the black and white ghost. Right? All those things. So I was like, okay, sure. And he says that, how he's a guardian, his family is a passed down guardians or something like that prays very seriously to these people, to these deities or ghosts or spirits or whatever. And they are the protectors. So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't disrespect it. I just listen and forget it. Until we spent a night at Pasir Ris Chalet. So we were the same thing in a group, sharing ghost stories like now. 2+ a.m. in the morning. Then something in the corner caught my eye and I just turned like that. So we were sitting in a circle. So I just turned and my friend was just seated here. Right? So I just looked at that corner. I was very perplexed. Very, very perplexed, because I saw this girl, right, dressed normally again, nothing scary, just sat there. Body language shows that she's in distress, she's crying, and I was also a little bit confused as well because again, I'm not so sure whether that is real. And the distance was actually quite nearby. So it's like, 5 meters, 10 meters? There's obviously, if she's there, everybody can see her, right? But no one said a thing, right? So I just kept looking and I was very distracted when he talked to me like, okay, I was saying, and then my friend suddenly said to me, you see her also, right? So I was like, okay, this is cool. Alright, I honestly felt this is cool. So far, in all my experiences, I've never felt fear. It's always been, what the heck is this? There must be a scientific explanation to this. So I'm saying, so I was like, okay, now the opportunity presented to itself that I'm not the only crazy guy around. So I asked my friend, what do you actually see? But don't tell me. Let's type in our phones, some of the details. I tell you, we went down to detail. We were like, the clothes she was wearing, the haircut that she had, the age roughly, right? What was she doing at the point of time? And it's almost real time. It's almost like, say, for example, okay. There's a change in the body behavior now. Right now, okay. So we stood up. She's standing up. So it's like, okay, this is damn cool, right? So that's where I started realizing that, hey, maybe we were, I don't know, a special select group of people, sway or not, to be able to see certain things. And I got a family member who is a pastor, So, and at the time, because of all these incidences, I switched religion. I tried a couple of religions here and there. Then I only finally settled on Christianity, which kind of gave me that, I don't know, what we call the balls to deal with this, right? So I of course asked my uncle who's the pastor, and I said, hey, how do we Christians see this stuff, because in the Bible it's about the demons and the devils and all that stuff. So he did share along with me that there is actually a group of Christians who are also like that. Alright, it is a gift, depending on what's your perspective, right? And there are ways that we can deal with this spiritually, and if you want to so-called be a part of this group that works along defending and fighting, so almost like a spiritual superhero, and I said, no thank you, I just need to know what the hell I'm doing. I just need to know how to deal with this, and that's it all I know. I don't need to do anything more. So that was it. So it felt very comfortable to be kind of like, that there is this acknowledgement of a phenomenon like that. And of course, I think towards the later years, right, in my design days when I started my own business, a lot of exciting things happened during the time when I was actually residing in Syed Alwi Road. So all these are the old places, right? So there were two incidences that were, I think, very critical, or I would say they were like, even I couldn't explain. So one was Syed Alwi, where I had my first design agency. So we were at located on the second floor, right? So this office, of course, along Syed Alwi, there's those old shop houses, conservation shop houses. And, as designers, we stay pretty late at night. And the time when we first started, there was only like 3 of us. So being the creative director, I would obviously be staying in the office a lot more. And I was single then, and of course nobody cared, right? So the office was nicely fitted, very sparsely fitted. Nice wooden floors. When you walk, you can hear thumping from the, and because downstairs was like KTV, you can hear all the bustling. That's until about 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and everything is really dead quiet. And that street itself is actually quite dead if you're talking about it when it comes to about 3 a.m., except for the few couple of drunkards lah. So the office was quite well lit, okay? In fact, it was too well lit for my taste back then, but then we were poor, we were trying to start up, so we kept it very sparse. And there was a room where we all worked in, our office space, right? So it was an office space that was located directly above the entrance if you come in from the shop or the ground floor. And because the whole place was old, right? When you hear people is walking up, it's basically like a knock. Everybody knows somebody's going to come. Yeah, you're top. Yeah, that kind of stuff. You can hear it, lah. You know that somebody's there, somebody's coming up, and everything else. So there was a particular night. I was just to share a little bit more of the space. So the space, because it's partitioned out, the only segregation between the office and the so-called the other areas and the toilet, right? And then, of course, the staircase is this plastered wall. And this plastered wall is those, temporary makeshift walls. And there's this doorway that has no door. All right, just a small doorway, there's no door. So from where I sat, I could see through this doorway, I can see the staircase, I can see the open space, and then into the toilet. All the way. And actually, the scariest one was there's a smaller door on my left, against where my table is against the wall. We open it up, we don't see a reason why there is a door. There was just nothing there. Then we always talked about, imagine somebody would knock at the door, that kind of nonsense lah. So there was this particular night, stayed back, just to do some stuff. It was about 3, 4-ish, right? I can remember I think it's a Wednesday night or something like that. So Wednesday, Thursday morning lah. And I was just working there, and when you're working on a screen, corner of my eye, I'll see like people walking past my door. Walking past the door, or somewhere further down where the toilets are, where walking past. It got so irritating, it got so frequent, I was like, I blurted out like, what the fuck is this, man? This nonsense, and a very bad idea came through my mind, because you have those Logitech, cameras, right? Let's see who's the asshole trying to screw around with me. So I turned that camera towards the doorway, and I continued working. And everything was just on my screen.
You knew it was a ghost?
No.
You felt it was...
At that point of time, it's 3, 4 a.m. after how many nights of sleepless night, you don't really give a shit anymore. You know what I mean? Because the first fear is, of course, because the place, how at the back entrance, you have people, the roofs are all co-joined, right? So you can actually hop around. So I was thinking thief, I was thinking maybe drunkard, or maybe a friend trying to pull a prank. Alright, I never really thought about, like I said before, right, I never had a fear of, or that these things would do harm to me. What's the worst thing you do? You show me a scary face, or something that I'm not expecting, But based on my experiences I had before, they are usually silent, at least within the spectrum that I can see. They're usually silent, I don't see floating heads or whatsoever. What's the big deal, right? So it's just another person, if it's there, then okay, you confront, and end of story, right? So that was all the processes that was going in, So I just want to see, let's try to see what's happening, So I got the camera tuned to that direction. I was watching the whole streaming not streaming, I was watching the whole scene live on my screen and just working, just doing my stuff. So is that, two windows open up. And then I saw it, right? It first started very far at where the kitchen, the toilets are. So long alleyway, slightly darker, and very, very obvious. It was a black shape that just cut through. So you see the lights changing, right? And cut through. So I was like, okay, so this thing has a shadow, so it's probably not a ghost. I mean, that's typical folklore, right? I don't know. So I said, okay, cool. So I just said out loud, I said, hey, somebody down there trying to play a prank, hey, you better screw off, or come out, don't cut out, very sian already, very tired already, So, no response. Okay, never mind. Then after a while, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes pass later, same thing. Now it's a bit closer. Alright, so it's now at where the doorway is, and where our so-called common area is, and it just walked right across, then down the staircase. So this time it was in a very well-lit space. I can see everything very clearly. It was just a black shape. And that was, as a designer, it was visually quite cool, but also kind of like, okay, what was that? So it's quite challenging to the logic right now. Right? And it's also nothing that I've ever seen before in the past, right? So I was like, okay, screw this. So you assume, okay he walks down the staircase, so should be gone already okay maybe I say whatever, he take it, he left, or it left, right? Then after a while, I saw the thing was at just one step before it reaches the same floor I am in, just standing there. So the shadow would have appeared above the railing, so you can see, and then through the spaces of the stairwell, you can see everything. So it's just stood there. So I was like, hey bro, you want to stare, you just stare okay? Or you see enough, you go I don't know okay? That's your pasa Don't catch out. I'm very busy here. No time to entertain you.
By then you knew it was a hantu already.
Hantu already. Then, because Encik in the army always tell us, right, if you see, you confront. Right? And this is something also, as Christians, you say, you see something, you just confront, I got balls bigger than you come and catch out me, really, you want to try me, I don't know, aggression first, And then it helped to build my own confidence also, right? So I was like, okay. But then, of course, slowly, then I was packing up already, You don't need to leave it to chance, right? So I was packing up already. Then I kept telling her, what can you do to me? What can you do to me? Nothing, what can you do to me? And then after I slowly put my mouse in, cover, blah, 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 take my stuff. Then I look at the camera again, not there anymore. I was like, okay, cool. Now it's my window opportunity to get out.
So just when you saw the head pop up, is it through the camera or with your eyes?
It's through the camera.
So
everything I seen through the camera, I didn't really dare to verify. Because it's just right. So I was seated like that, and the door is there. So if I were to turn, maybe during the time you can duck, I don't know, right? So I was just like, okay, I'm not ready to confront this stuff.
Is it to accept it on the screen than in real life?
Screen, there's still a certain distance, you know what I mean? It feels still very raw, very digital, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially you must understand from our perspective as a digital artist, whatever we do editing, we've seen a lot of scary shit, scary projects, and all that. We've deliberately filmed ghost stories or hauntings or whatsoever nonsense. We create that scene. It's not real, but yeah. So it's taken out in that perspective, you see. So when I saw the whole thing, I was just, okay, this is real. This is something happening here. So the main thing I was actually considering was, should I stay and record this, right? Or should I just scram, right?
I was just about to ask you whether you recorded.
Yeah, that was the fun part, right? That was. So I of course started packing my stuff and then and all that stuff, and I was just about to turn off the monitor to reset everything back. Right? The image gone again. The fella gone again, right? So I was like, okay, cool, if we know opportunity, just about pressing the button, right? At the partition wall, just outside my office. It walked very calmly and stood at the doorway.
Waiting for you to film it.
Like challenge right? I mean that's what I was thinking.
I would guess you read your intention.
Yeah something like I think so I don't know, but it seemed like it So to me it was very simple. The only see my goosebumps. The thing that always comforted me was, what the hell can you do to me? And at that point of time, shit, I'm going to find out. Right? At the point, it was very real. I felt fear. And I know I lost. No matter whatever religion you are, I know I've lost. Right? I said, okay, I'm now in a very compromising situation. I have nowhere to run. I have nowhere to, whatever to do. So, all I did was, I banged the table damn loud. I took a chair, I threw it at the doorway. I just ran out. I just ran out and all the way down.
Did the thing move as you
No,
threw
nothing.
it?
So when I stood up from my table to the chair and threw whatever general direction, I was looking at the camera, I was looking at the screen, I threw it at the direction, it didn't move. So by the time when I moved away just to walk out of the doorway, presumably it should be still there lah.
Yeah.
Right?
So you had to run past him?
I had to run, no, there is no pass because he's standing in the doorway. So I had to run through him. I had to run through him and that's it. And I know that, and the best part is when I stood up, the doorway was empty. But I'm not going to turn back to verify it's still there. The door was empty. I saw it was empty. I just scoot. I didn't give a shit anymore. I just ran out. That was the first incident that was, wow, until today, it scares the crap out of me, man. That was one of the biggest one. Yeah.
When you run through the doorway, you feel like a sudden
No,
change in
nothing.
temperature.
I didn't notice anything, really honest. I didn't felt a difference in terms of what temperature, what different density of air, nothing. I remember coming down the staircase, and that's the worst part. Coming down the staircase, I had to close the doors behind me, right? To lock, right? Then you hear the steps down the staircase in a very rush moment, like,
Running after you.
that is where the real balls drop off. And I didn't turn back anymore. I just left. So the next day, I told my friends about this, my colleagues about this. They brought in a tangki, what do you call it, the medium, the Chinese, because he's a Taoist, a medium to come and do certain things.
What did you find? You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.